Good morning, Stray Mountain students. It's Mr. Jones, and it is Friday, April 31st, 2023, and we are less than 4 days away from taking the standardized state test. This is the ACT and the ACT Aspire. You guys got this. Now, maybe you haven't studied as much as you need to, and you're wanting some cramming advice on what you need to do. Well, good news and bad news for you. You can't really cram for the ACT, but there are things that you can do to make things better for yourself. So let's go over a couple of them. First, you need to familiarize yourself with the ACT, which means you need to get a copy of previous ACT exams. You need to read through them. You need to see how the test is put together, how it works, what they're doing in each section. After you've done that, you probably want to sit down and take a full-length practice test if you can get it. Set timers, treat it like it's a real exam. Do not have any distractions. Focus on taking the test for real. Now, if you've got one of these from an ACT test book or an online ACT, there should be an answer key. So you take it for real and then take a break, come back to it, and grade it. You will notice you're starting to make mistakes and when and where you're going to make the mistakes on this test. Usually you make that mistake when you are tired. And that means towards the end of the test is when you're going to start flagging the most. But once you've graded it, you need to look it over and see if you can figure out why you missed the things you did. Many of these tests have explanation keys that explain what you missed and why your choice was not the best one. But things to remember. So that's on practice to get you used to the test and taking the test. Now, what I do need you to understand about taking this is there are some tips and tricks that can help you do a little bit better. That doesn't mean it's going to make everything perfect, but it'll help. First, as with any standardized test, you can almost always eliminate at least one of the options when you look at it. When you read the question and you go, that doesn't make any sense, and you can eliminate that. If you can eliminate any of the options, it's now improved your chances of choosing the correct answer if you have zero choices. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, when you come into any standardized test or any major test at all, you need to be relaxed. If you're under a lot of pressure, you're under a lot of stress, your brain shuts down. It doesn't let you access the material. You guys know this. You've done everything that's on this test. You can do this. So come in the day before, make sure that you get a good night's sleep. Do not get into a fight with your mom. Do not get into a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend right before the exam. And whatever you do, don't get a speeding ticket. Be here on time. Have breakfast. Show up. Maybe do a little bit of review with your friends. And then focus. You got this. Now, beyond that, there are some specific tips for the different sections. So let me go over those. This counts both for the ACT Aspire as well as for the ACT. One, in the English test. Often the English tests have two parts to them. One is grammar, and then the other one is often writing or original thought. So what you need to do is you need to definitely practice your grammar rules. You don't have a grammar checker here to catch it for you. So make sure that you've got your grammar rules down so that we can check the section in English for the best sections using the grammar and go for it from there. The ACT has an ACT Aspire have a higher level vocabulary. So if you want to try to work on your vocabulary, go to a thing like Quizlet or spellingcity.com or any other website out there that has ACT or SAT vocabulary and practice them for free. Just to try to pick up your vocabulary. It'll help you out just a little bit. Reading tips. You need to understand that the reading sections generally involve a couple of things. You need to be able to identify your main topics, develop the opinions that are there, what is listed as fact, what is listed as opinion, and it always also comes down to usually there will be two distinct reading passages that you're going to have to be able to pick and choose from. In the ACT Aspire, there's a writing section that goes with that. Usually you have to compare the ideas between the two reading selections and write them up. So you're looking for similarities between readings. You're looking for differences between readings. You want to be able to identify key individuals, key characters. What's the theme? What's the objective? That's the reading section. Math is a lot more concrete and focused, generally. Here's the thing with math. Practice what you know. Don't try to pick up new stuff that you've never known or never seen. You have no idea how to do. Okay? That's going to drive you crazy. You have a weekend. So practice the stuff you know. So for example, we know that they have a lot of things on this test, in the ACT particularly, geometry. What are your rules for lines, circles, polygons? What are your rules for the geometry rules in general? We know you need to know your number property rules. Fractions, exponents, radicals, you can expect those. You can expect percentage, percent change. You can expect word problems. You can expect finding area of circles and cylinders. You can expect multiplying binomials and factoring quadratics. All of that is standard. Where they get interesting is often they will combine several of these together and then they will present them to you. Again, work your way through them. You can do this. The science test, this one's all about interpreting data, analyzing the experimental design, and trying to think like a scientist. You don't have to memorize tons and tons of science, but you do have to be able to have the basic science knowledge and be able to look at the data they are giving you and make inferences like a scientist. So you need things like being able to identify the dependent and independent variables, finding the purpose of a study, what is their control group if they have one, what is a hypothesis. Often, if you have that information, you can work your way through that. Now, the weekend before, don't stay up until 2 in the morning cramming for this test. It won't help you. It will actually make things worse. Study, look over the stuff, review the stuff that you should know and aren't familiar with. But don't try to pick up a bunch of new stuff. You don't have time. All right. On the day of the test, eat your breakfast. Come in, be relaxed, be mellow. When the test is given out, stop for a second. Your brain might be racing. You might be going crazy. Stop. Breathe. Jones has Jones's rules. Jones's rule number 1, breathe. Do you know what Jones's rule number 2 is? Do rule 1. Breathe again. Maybe close your eyes. Deep in breath. Blow it out. Focus. You got this. Know that you are what make me proud to be EM.